good on your side?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Hey, guys, this is Brandon McCaskill. Welcome to the Safari Arie Road Show. We have Ari Hoogerbrug with us here today. Ari, how's it going, sir?
Actually, it's going pretty good. What can I say? I'm in Berkeley, California, and I have a private vacant apartment behind me in me. I have a
Nice.
roof over my head,
Yep.
and I have Wi-Fi, and I have an entire one-bedroom apartment all to myself. Actually, no, it's a two-bedroom. Not that I use any of it. I just have a blow-up bed behind me. That's the other thing is, let's see, I'll just do this. There's a blow-up bed behind me.
Yep.
So yeah, living the life. What can I tell you?
Wow. And
Yeah.
your hair is getting a little out of control.
Oh my goodness. It's the longest it's been
Gee.
since 1995. I've
Looks like
never had
nobody
hair
owns
this
you.
long. I'm dying to have it completely shaved off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should just update. So it's the 21st, December 21st.
Sir.
I actually got into San Francisco on the 15th.
Yep.
So I think that was last Tuesday. I was actually hoping to do this show while I was in San Francisco, just because
Yeah.
I was now in a major city, but I had an amazing host, but it was just a one-bedroom apartment. So I always get a little bit, I don't like to do our road shows necessarily in a one-bedroom apartment when the host is kind of walking around kind of deal.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'm so thankful. My host was Jim Sweet, and it was a situation like with everything going on with COVID and just like coming down the coast of California, where I was actually it was fairly isolated in many ways, in many places. I mean, there was a few towns here and there, but I have so much work to get caught up on.
Yeah.
And I'm coming into San Francisco. We're in the middle of COVID. San Francisco is like the most expensive city in America. And it's not like hostels are open. Usually the way to deal with the hostels right now, or at least I've noticed for the last X amount of months, is they are only renting out private rooms, and usually like a minimum of 3 nights, which there's no way in my lifetime is that ever on my budget. And so I didn't know what the heck was going to go on. In fact, I had actually my faster rewind. I had done my laundry in Brookings, Oregon, and it took me like 13 days, it took me 15 days to get here. But on day 13 was when I finally did my very first laundry in California. Because I had some trouble finding RV parks that allowed tenting. And so I always look for the RV campgrounds because they have a laundromat, and then I can do my laundry. And then I usually I hang out in the laundromat till about 3 a.m.
Really?
Because I'm taking advantage of every outlet to plug and charge everything I possibly can charge.
Yeah.
And then of course they usually have some Wi-Fi, so I'm working away. So my ideal situation is to once a week find an RV campground that I can take a shower, do my laundry, plug things in, and try to get some work done. And usually I'm up till about 3 in the morning. In fact, I was up till 3 in the morning this morning also. I pretty much don't. And that's the thing is, I mean, I'm a bit of a night person, but at the same time, it's just, I can't afford not to get some work done.
Yeah.
And so anyways, on the 13th, I get this RV campground. I paid $40 plus tax. It was $41.60. Wow. I was so pissed. I had never paid. Oh, that's the thing. Well, I'm an extremely cheap person. I'm the cheapest person you'll ever meet. And that was the most expensive campground I've ever paid for in my entire life. Wow. And it was $41.60 US dollars. But I hadn't had a laundry, like I said, in 13 days. So I was wearing the same clothes, which was getting pretty grimy. Yeah. And I had no idea what the deal was going to be for when I got into San Francisco. But it took the time. I reached out to a guy, Jim Sweet, and he responded. It was through Warm Showers, actually. That's how I tracked him down. And his profile was updated for COVID, so he was still accepting guests kind of deal. Anyways, he responded, and he really, what I thought was going to be really a miserable kind of headaches, anxiety of like, what am I going to do in San Francisco? Where am I going to stay? Yeah. He took care of me. And then it turned out he was also a professional bike mechanic. Right. Probably so on the 15th, I got to San Francisco. I'm going to say on the 12th or the 13th, my bike brakes, I had no more bike brakes. And basically, I mean, I'm bike gear and all that's 170 pounds. And anyone that has cycled the coast of California, it's just up, down, up, down, up, down. And literally, I was basically using my foot like Fred Flintstone to slow my bike down as I went down some of these mountains. And actually, some of them were so bad I actually had to walk. Not, yeah, I guess try to not pushing my bike because I'm going downhill, but literally holding my bike back
Yeah.
as I'm trying to make my way down the hill.
Gee.
Anyways, Jim happened to be a professional bike mechanic. So we completely redid we replaced, I'm just trying to think in my head, we replaced both tires, we replaced the rotors. The brake calipers were actually seized from the winter time. I didn't realize. Then the brake pads, of course, placed the chain and the cassette. And also, we also discovered some of my rear spokes were damaged. I don't know what happened. I think it must have happened to in a bike shop because I have no recollection of this at all. But somehow my chain went off my cassette into my wheel, and it got turned, and it basically scraped my spokes, which weakens your spokes. So I actually had to get my wheel 9 spokes actually swapped out on my wheel. So it took like 2 days to literally overhaul my entire bike. And then Jim actually taught me, because he's a mechanic, and this was the thing, is I can barely fix a flat. And my game plan was whenever I got a tune-up, I would get a bike shop to teach me a little bit as I went along. Right. But then COVID hit. And basically with COVID, it was you drop your bike off and they call you in 3 or 4 days and that's it. Yeah. And it's like, well, what happened to my bike lesson that I was hoping to get? Yeah. So I'm all the way in San Francisco and I still don't even know how to, I can just sort of barely fix a flat. I mean, of course I can fix one, but I'm just saying my bike mechanic knowledge was basically down to zip. And so I learned more from Jim in the one day than in my entire life kind of deal. So I feel a lot more confident moving forward because I was actually getting a little bit anxious about the fact that, okay, I'm already in all the way into San Francisco and I don't know how to fix a bike, when I get into some trouble. Right. And so I had no brakes. I had no brakes for like 3-4 days, which is pretty crazy given the terrain and everything. But anyways, and then in the meantime, basically what happened was that I reached out to my new media guy, Matt, and he has a friend or whatever here in Berkeley. And so what I'm in a big apartment building, and because of COVID, a lot of the students, because I'm in Berkeley, there's a university like a stone throw away kind of deal. And so a lot of the students are gone, so a lot of the students are gone. So they have a bunch of vacant rooms or apartments kind of deal. And so through my media guy, Matt, I was able to acquire this room or this apartment for the next couple of days. So really cool. Yeah, no, I mean, because like I said, I mean, there's nowhere to work on anything unless I want to spend, in Oregon, in Washington, I was paying about $25 to $30 for an RV campground when I after a week, if I hadn't had a host or whatever, and then California, my first RV was like $41. It's like, so I'm just, it gets very expensive. And so I'm actually I'm very, very thankful to be in the position I'm in. So, so it's been a pretty crazy time. Oh, you know what? I realized, I know I'm not giving you a word in edgewise, but some other things, and actually might want to even actually side note, make this part of the title or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to end up actually adjusting my US route a little bit. Not hugely significant in the grand scheme of things, but I am actually going to have to make an adjustment to my route. So while I was in San Francisco, I was just on the Google Maps looking at, because basically my plan was to go from San Francisco to Yosemite to Death Valley and then onward. And so for the first time, I was on Google Maps in SF in San Francisco, because now it's time to figure out, okay, where am I going to go? How am I going to do it? And that's when I discovered that the highway going through Yosemite to bring me to Death Valley is actually closed for the winter. It's a seasonal road. It closes from November to April or May or whatever. Oh, wow. So that road is closed. So I can't go across Yosemite National Park anymore to go to Death Valley.
Even for bikers, eh?
Yeah, no, and actually, that's the funny thing is I've seen YouTube like there's there's a YouTube or there's a cyclist that I follow regularly. He actually I think he did it, but
Mm-hmm.
he got caught. Like that's the thing about
Oh,
state parks. The rangers are everywhere. You
hmm.
really actually you can't really get away with a whole lot of anything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, that road is closed. And when I mean, if it was Canada, I would probably just go for it. But in America, it's like they've got, there's a reason that they've got the largest incarceration rate in the world. Kind of, and I mean, not that I would be in jail or whatever, but I'm just saying it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. So, anyways, like I said, yeah, the highway, I forget the highway number, but it's basically irrelevant because the highway that actually goes across Yosemite to connect with the next highway that brings you south to Death Valley is
Yeah.
closed. Now, can I get into Yosemite? Yes, there is actually a portion of highway that is open,
Mm.
but given how far I have to go east to get into Yosemite and how short that little highway is that is still open,
Yeah.
it's just like given the time of year, because that's the other thing is I didn't really anticipate going out that way in the middle of winter. And now it is technically in the middle of winter, even though it's sunny in San Francisco, it's in negative temperatures in Yosemite. And I'm actually don't really have the gear for that. That winter gear is sitting in Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
And we're at the end of December. So it's not like, oh, get my gear for the next 4 months kind of deal. It's
Yeah.
like, no, kind of, yeah. So, anyways, basically what I've decided to do is from here, I'm going to go back into SF to go along the coast. And I'm going to follow the coast to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Um, Originally, so I'll backtrack to what my original plan. My original plan was San Francisco, Yosemite, Death Valley to Vegas, into Utah, southeast quadrant around those canyons and the monument valleys and all that, which
Yeah.
is also currently right now in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And then swing my way around the Grand Canyon to Joshua Tree to LA to San Diego.
Hmm.
That was basically the remainder of my US route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go San Francisco to LA, and then I'm going to swing my way east in the north into Death Valley, and then I'll do the Vegas, the Utah, Grand Canyon, Joshua Tree, and then San Diego. So I'm
Wow.
just going to sort of reverse the order a little bit. And then, of course, at the same time, unfortunately, basically take Yosemite out
Yeah.
of the picture kind of deal. So that's, I mean, obviously things can change any given time, any given moment.
Yeah.
But moving forward, that is roughly what my plan will be is. So instead of going to Yosemite, I'm going to go to LA now.
Okay.
And I have
Cool.
someone that's desperately waiting for my arrival in LA
Oh yeah.
anyway. So it'll be cool to connect with him.
Right on.
So yeah, so a lot of things going on kind of deal, but yeah, no, it's all
Awesome.
good.
Sweet. Well, it's awesome to get a little update where you're at and how things are going.
Yeah.
And we'll probably cut that short, but we're going to jump over to a longer conversation. We just like to keep these ones a little bit shorter. So if you want to join us, I'll link that video at the end of this video. So just click that and join us for the longer one. Thanks, Ari.
All right.
And we'll
Later.
catch you in the next one.
Yeah. Bye.